Shemai, and welcome to my first ever vlog. Now, I wasn't going to start vlogging till next week, but last night I had an amazing moment. I finished my business plan, which is massive. It allows me to keep track of where I am now and where I want to go. At the end of this week, or next week, I am going to be sharing a detailed guide on how I used AI to write my business plan, to assist me in writing my business plan, and all the prompts that I used and things like that. So hit that like and subscribe button and the little bell thing to be notified of when that video is available. So for now, in this vlog, I'm going to show you what I use to track these goals and deadlines. My business plan had a load of action steps with every single title, every single section in it had its own little steps. I took the whole business plan when I finished, I fed it in to ChatGPT, who I call Al, and Al went through it and I asked him to pull out every single action step that was there. So he did, and he gave me a huge long list. There were 90 in total, which is massive. So I needed to be a bit smarter about this. So I went back to Al and I said, right, I've got 3 months until my first book is launched. What of all of these action plans, which ones are the most important? Which ones do I need to prioritize doing for each month for the next 3 months? Being specific with Al is really important, because I didn't want him also to come back and say, right, well, you do this 30 in this month, this 30 in that month, and that 30 in that month, there's 90. That wouldn't be very helpful because 30 in a month is going to be too much. So I mentioned that there had to be less. I didn't tell him how many. I wanted to see what he'd come up with, and I'd cut some off if needs be. So I gave him free rein. He came back then with 10 per month, in line with the idea of having to launch a book, having to establish a business, and having to establish an author brand on social media and things like that. So he prioritised in exactly the ways that I asked him to. I then took that list and I moved things around, things that I'd perhaps started already, and thought, well, I'd rather finish what I started than start new things, which of course Al didn't know. So I slotted things back in, and I ended up with 10 goals per month that I feel are achievable. From there then, I asked Al what the best way would be to track these goals. How can I keep an eye on what's going on? And Al came back with lots and lots of different ideas, to-do list, different apps that allow you to do that. But then it came up with a recommendation of using Trello. Now, I've used Trello before. Jessica Brody first introduced me to Trello. She uses it, or used to use it, as a plotting tool for all of her books and an editing tool to track changes and things. And I did try it for a couple of books and for editing, and I never quite got on with it. I found it a little clunky. And then I discovered Plotter, and that was a game changer for me. Again, there'll probably be a video in the future about Plotter. But I thought I'll go back to Trello. It's a very visual software. For a to-do list, it might actually work. The clunkiness probably won't be as much of an issue. So I set myself up in 3 different areas. I figured the business side was one area, social media is going to be another area that I need to track separately, and my writing, of course. So I then split up these 10 a month into the various sections. I added them all in, which took probably 5-10 minutes to do all of them. I then created 3 cards within each one of those boards, and I populated them with all of the goals that fit within that category, whether it be writing, social media, or business tasks. And then I just moved them from either it's a to-do or it could be an in progress. And if I happen to have finished one, then I move it over into the done pile. Adding a card is really simple. Going into that card, then you can edit the colour, or you can add a description, you can have a to-do list within a to-do list, and you can have due dates as well. My next step was to put it all into a calendar. Now, I could have used Google Calendar for this, I could have used Outlook for this, but I use Google for my personal, my home calendar, and I use Outlook for work. So I didn't want to have to swap accounts within the apps. I wanted a separate app for it. And AI actually suggested that I use TimeTree, which in the beginning I was like, well, it's not going to be as good as Google or Outlook, but it'll do. And actually I find it really quick and really simple. You just add in what you want, and then you set the settings, and it remembers those settings. You can actually batch add, really quickly add sort of 10 items, one after the other on different dates, different titles, but it's kept in your reminder setting, your color coding setting, and everything that's helpful. So yeah, I've enjoyed using TimeTree. It's also on my phone as well. I keep Trello and TimeTree on my phone. So for me, tracking goals, it's not about just staying organised. It's about staying motivated as well. It's knowing that what you're doing is leading up to something. I mean, launching a book is a huge task. And to have something like ChatGPT break that task down into small little chunks, you feel like you're achieving something all the way, like you're on the right road to where you want to go. If you are setting goals this year, I would highly recommend finding a system that works for you, whether it's Trello or TimeTree or even a simple notebook would do, pen and paper, whatever works for you. And if you are curious about how I used AI to help me to set up goals in the first place, then stay tuned for my upcoming video on how to write a business plan with AI. Hit that like and subscribe button and the little bell to be notified of when those videos are available. So tell me in the chat, what tools do you use to track your goals? Let me know. I've been Kay, and thank you very much, Diolch yn fawr, for staying with me this whole time and for sharing my journey with me. It really does mean a lot. Hwyl fawr.